Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Where the Mind Wanders with Spoons and Joe. Say hi, Spoons.
Hey there.
And you are catching us hopefully on the premiere at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time on Monday. But if you're catching us at any other time, we premiere on 3:30 Eastern Standard Time on Mondays. I also usually drop a clip every Wednesday and Friday. Those are for you guys to share around if you just catch the clip and you find it interesting, you go back and click the link and watch the full episode. Um, so today, Spoons and I, as we usually do, we just start with a starting point, so to say, and then where the mind wanders, as the title of the show is usually where we go. And we don't really have too much of a plan, but before we got on the air, so to speak, we were just talking about a little bit um, how the world just, does what it does, and we kind of just like watch it, witness it, and Spoons and I have a very similar attitude to all that at this point. Like, I guess it could be boiled down to what was it, Forrest Gump? Shit happens, like, and shit always happens, so to speak,
Yeah.
and most of the world, people are always stressing about, oh, what's going to happen next, or in the world, in the politics, um, stuff like that. There's some crazy stuff going on in the world right now, economic, political wise, and the world's rearranging. But as people who study history will tell you, this is the world is always rearranging, and life goes on, and the world keeps spinning, and so what? And you do the best you can with what you got. And that's kind
Mhm.
of my attitude these days. Yeah, you feel the same way, Spoons, or a similar way? Or
Yeah. I find myself being less concerned about it and more just like, oh, well, what is going to happen next? Just like, like you're watching a drama or something, but
Mm.
it's not really affecting you, even though it does. It's kind of how it feels right now.
Well, the
I
thing is,
know, it's
in my
funny.
lifetime, there's always the end of the world is always coming. There's always a Chicken Little, like either coming from the quote unquote mainstream media, or, what everybody is out there is talking about, or even worse in those fringe communities. The world's always coming to an end. There's always something. There's always somebody doing something, but it's like one thing I've noticed, especially with politics, is like people get really up in arms about politics and stressed out about it on either side, quote unquote. And I've noticed every time people would freak out, like life was the same. It was always the same. Like I remember even being a little kid and everybody like freaking out, and then I'm like, well, this new guy's president, but everything's the same as far as I could tell.
Yeah.
I don't see anything different. And that's always kind of been my attitude with politics. Yeah, granted, things do change, but things change for a multitude of reasons. Like time goes on, like the world is very, very complex, and
Mhm.
things change. It's the nature of things to change. Like this world, everything's in constant flux, like cycles, and sometimes the economy is good, sometimes it's bad. Like sometimes political wise, people are more conservative. Sometimes they're more liberal. Sometimes it's just. But life is basically always the same. People are always doing the same stuff. Um, yeah, so I never really quite understood all that or getting so upset about it. Um, there were things in the past where when I went down certain like rabbit holes, quote unquote, where I stressed myself out. And like part
Mhm.
of the big realization getting out of all that was realizing all this stuff is basically in my mind. Like it's just in my perception. Like as soon as I don't like think about it or ruminate about it, I realize, oh, wait a minute, nothing's changed. Like
Yeah.
everything's the same. Like
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like, the presidential stuff, I suppose people will like connect dots to that, and maybe they do make changes. Um, but I don't know how much of that is actually them and how much of them that is actually just a cycle. You know, I can remember like up until a certain point in my nursing career, there was like a plethora of jobs. You could go anywhere and do all of this different stuff. And then somewhere I think around maybe 2008, everything just kind of like there was no jobs
Yeah, I
all of a
remember that.
sudden. And it was so weird to me. I was like, oh, well, that's kind of different. But also, I had a job, so it didn't matter. It wasn't like a big deal. It didn't hurt anything. It just it probably helped me at the time because I was in this habit of switching jobs every 2 to 3 years at that point or less.
Mhm.
So maybe for me that was like a good thing that the current cycle was there was less jobs available for people.
Mm.
Now, I mean, there's tons of all kinds of different jobs available for people, and nobody wants to work.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. That's definitely something I do notice changing in my lifetime is people are not there's multitudes of jobs available, but no one wants to do them. Like,
yeah,
um,
yeah, and I mean, like, no shame that nobody wants to do them either, because a lot of those jobs suck. But
you know,
it is what it is. It's just interesting. Things are
yeah,
always changing.
yeah. I remember 2008 as well. That's the whole thing where that happened is the reason I'm not a cop right now, which is probably for the
Yeah,
better. I'm kind of glad that happened actually. At the time, I wasn't. But,
no,
um,
me neither.
yeah. At the time, I was very stressed because I went through like a year through the police academy. I got certified, but in the state to work as a law enforcement officer. And right when I'm about to take the actual paying job, oh, hiring freeze, like 2008, the economy crashed. And then like so I made other plans. At the time, I was stressed, but I was like, oh, I guess I'll just go back to university or whatever. And I wound up moving up to Philadelphia. And no joke, the day before I'm supposed to move up to Philadelphia, I got a call from the police department. Oh, you want to come in for that interview? Now we're hiring again. I'm like, well, kind of made other plans, guys. Like, I'm committed. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, but I kind of see that happened for a reason. Like, um, I don't think that was my path, just because I had like interest that were, aligned with that, like psychology. I was always kind of interested in law as it is. Like, I was good at martial arts. So it's like, okay, what is good at you? I'm good at martial arts. I'm interested in the law. I'm interested in psychology. Police work must be what I'm meant to do. But
yeah,
I later realized, no, this is just interest I have. It doesn't mean I have to make a career and get paid for it, or God, I don't even think I like all that whole pandemic business that happened some years ago. I don't even think I would even still have my career and pension if I made it that far. So I think everything
right.
happens for a reason. So um,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of just go with the flow and realize things happen in cycles. And um, there is a kind of a destiny going on, what they call the Dharma, um,
Mm-hmm.
in the Eastern traditions. Like there is something like that going on, and it's like when you resist that, or you don't want to, you're preoccupied with something else, you actually bring yourself into a lot more stress. And we were talking about earlier that you were saying that you don't think you could go off the path. I'm like, well, I think the path is always the path, but I think you can resist going on it for a while. I think I sure did numerous times, but um, man, I don't know. I think you're on your path when you actually feel when you wake up and day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year, you feel more at peace and
Mm-hmm.
calmer and more like you see that things are just like in flux and cyclic in nature, and there's no need to worry about that. To me, that's when you're getting aligned with the quote unquote dharma on the path. that's how you know you're making progress. If you're still, if you're just changing, like as they say, the saying, you're rearranging furniture onto Titanic. If you're constantly in the same kind of energy, constantly stressed, constantly concerned with things that are not even important, like you made it important to you, but like they're not, it's not even important in the scheme of things. Because like I said earlier, like with the presidents and stuff like that, or the politics, is like I had never realized why everybody freaked out before, because life was the same after the fact. So
Yeah.
um and that's kind of what we do in our perception, no matter what your poison is, so to speak, is you're trying to make things that are not that important. And
Yeah. Yeah. I think politics and weather, I think, is what we talked about before the show started.
yeah.
Some really good examples there of like how people have short memories of things and stuff's always doing these cycles. But even just like you're talking about perceptions, I don't know. We do this on so many levels and like things that we think we need to have or whatever, you know. Like I was talking to you. So last episode, we were talking about habits and all of that stuff. And you were very much towards the end of it, like, well, you set the intention and then you give it over to God. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I didn't do that part with the caffeine thing. I'm trying to give up because I want something to struggle with, you know. It's like I'm doing that to myself. I could easily just set the intention and give it over and be like, eventually it'll happen. And maybe I will do that even, but I haven't hit that spot yet, apparently, with it. So I don't know. It's funny. You can do that on so many different levels
Yeah,
and
and then
so many different.
I was saying to you, and this is from my experience anyway, is that what you resist persist. And when you
Yeah.
kind of just like throw your hands up, you're like, because you already set the intention, or you wouldn't even be talking about it right now. It wouldn't be bugging you. So you're already bringing your attention there, and this whole surrendering to God part is just when you throw your hands up, basically. You don't have
Yeah.
to like conceptualize that it's a deity or something along that line or whatever. It's you just surrender it to a higher power, as like we were talking about the 12 steps last week, is the best way. However you see that higher power, it doesn't matter. Just when you throw your hands up, you might keep drinking those cokes for another 6 months, a year, and then one day you just wake up and you're like, that's how it always
Yeah.
happens. But
Yeah.
what you resist persist, and then you just stress yourself out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's easy to surrender over those other things like politics and all of that stuff. I'm like,
Mm.
you know, if I'm a child of God, and you know, he's going to take care of me to a certain extent. So that's not to say you don't have to try to take care of yourself or be concerned about certain things, but worrying about them, well, you can forget about that. There's no reason to worry about things, especially things that aren't actually even a thing, you know.
Mm.
I used to waste a lot of time on stuff like that.
Yeah, same. I feel you. Yeah, I
So,
kind of look at them as non-issues now. There's just so many non-issues out there. Like they're only an issue
mhm,
because you made them an issue, but they're basically
yeah,
non-issues because they don't affect anything. Like we were talking about, people have short memories. We were talking about the whole pandemic thing, and then now it's like the measles thing. Like they're talking about that in Germany a lot. And everybody's made it a thing. And then like I was sitting on the couch with Sandra the other day, and she's like, "I had measles when I was a kid. So what? When I was a kid, we just said that was a childhood thing, and you had the measles, and it was at the end. You got better, and that was the end of it. Like, and now everybody makes this thing like it's like they have like such short memories, but I think it's like they just get off on it. Uh,
hmm,
they like the stress, the cortisol, the um something to give meaning to their day or whatever. And it'll be on to the next thing
hmm, in no
soon
time.
enough.
They
So,
probably already are. I mean, that's
yeah.
been a couple of weeks, right? So
Yeah.
that we knew about it. So that's like a trickle
Mm,
down. So who knows when that was even actually a thing, the
yeah,
thing about the measles.
good point.
Because
Yeah.
I thought that was so weird. It's like happening there and also happening here that people were freaking out about the measles.
Mm.
Like, how random.
Well, it's just like I'm not gonna waste my time thinking about the measles. That's kind of how my attitude is with a lot of things these days. I waste my time thinking about that crap. Like it's like,
Yeah.
we like I said earlier, you do have a purpose, you have a dharma, so to speak, and you know you're on it when you feel more happier and peaceful as time progresses. And you kind of you see things from the bigger picture, and you see the like so many things that we stress ourselves out about, or that the world at large stresses out about, are just non-issues. They're non-issues. Like they don't affect you at all until you made them affect you. Like,
Hmm.
um, yeah. But then again, it's
It's
like people have always been like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like thinking you have to, like when you're shooting for something, that it has to come out in this certain formula, the way you've pictured all the pieces falling. And if it doesn't happen in that respect, then it's incorrect or it's wrong or whatever. But didn't you just want the end result? You didn't need all these pieces that led to it. You wanted the end result. So why do you care as long
Mm,
as you're getting to that thing that you've set your intention towards, you know? It's we make it so much harder than it has to be
mm,
all the time, man. I think the last week or two, especially, I just see so many things in my life where things were just way harder than they had to be just because I was so focused
mm,
on either avoiding some kind of confrontation or just trying to stay within a certain pattern or something instead of just going
mm.
with the actual flow.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I think that's something part of the human experience. We're all gonna do that. It's just when you are you ready to like give that up? I don't think most people will ever give that up in their lifetime. Maybe it's not their time, their lifetime to do that. Or you know, you always get what you want. God always gives you what blesses you. I think we've even talked about that before. You're always blessed about what you desire. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you can keep going on and on and on. You reincarnate for infinitum, from what I understand. Do the same thing over and over for thousands of lifetimes if you want. That's your prerogative. Um, but it's like at some point you're like, do you want it? Want that? Like that's a question I've asked myself throughout my life. Is like, do I want that um, anymore?
Yeah.
And I'd say no. I'm good. I'm good for the most part. All these lingering things that karma keeps bringing back to me that have been a part of the to use a computer metaphor, like your algorithm. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've actually been reading a lot about Buddhism lately, but just kind of like I realized at some point most of the stuff I knew about Buddhism is more like hearsay or second knowledge. So I was like actually reading some interesting stuff, and I came across somebody who explained like karma is actually like very close to like an algorithm, like on YouTube or TikTok or something like that. That
Mm-hmm.
you like the more you do something, the more life will recommend that.
Yeah.
And once you stop, the momentum is still going. So it takes a while for it to burn out. And that's part
Mm-hmm.
of the whole letting go process is that as that energy comes cycling back, you let some of the steam out into it's like no longer there because you built up like basically like an algorithm like on YouTube or TikTok or something like that, and life keeps offering it to you because you wanted that. You made that decision so many times that that's kind of your energy now. And that's
Yeah.
literally everything, even your ego and everything, like Drew Evolution and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. Um, very fascinating stuff. And I realized, yeah, I fed the algorithm for a long time, probably even before there was a Joe. Um, and yeah, I don't like. I don't watch those YouTube channels anymore. So they'll keep being recommended to me because that's what the algorithm thinks I like, so to
Yeah.
speak. And all a metaphor, folks. It's like, but that is a really good metaphor, I think, though. Because karma is a
Yeah.
really hard one to explain to people because they have a very
Yeah.
simple understanding of it. But
Yeah.
um, where was I
Yeah.
going? I'll hand it over to you.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think that's a great way to explain it, actually, because it, as you do more of the letting go process, you start to see how much of it was off of your choices or what you allowed to kind of stay in your energy, people or places or whatever you were picking at the time that has a big influence on what keeps showing up. So
Mm.
it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, the the TikTok thing. Yeah, I refuse to have that application because I'm just like I have no problem saying no to Facebook and all of that stuff at this point. It's
Mm.
like a non-issue for me, but I don't want to tempt fate with that one. I think I might get sucked into it. Um, so yeah.
I don't think social media of any form can get me anymore. Like, I'm just so done with all of it. I gave it up years ago. I have a Telegram. I'm in a couple groups, like mostly with ones with you, and I mostly just use it for like private messaging and saving because it's got a cloud. And I have all these saved private folders and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm using it like a free like hard drive, a cloud, and you know, other than that, like but I see everyone around me using the TikTok, and it's to me it's like I don't know. I don't know the word obnoxious, but
Mhm.
that sounds very judgmentally because it's not what passes through my mind when I hear it. It's just like it's like a constant like you hear something and there's like some music or whatever, then they must have flipped up, and then it's like something else is playing for like 30 seconds, but flipped up, and it's it's like I understand how they designed TikTok is supposed to be like to for dopamine. They actually got down to a science, like the
Mhm.
constant dopamine hits, so to speak, and that's basically what it is. And watching it from the outside, like as a spectator, as the witness, it just comes off kind of obnoxious to me. Like it's like
Yeah.
listen to some 10, 20 seconds, 30 seconds a minute, and it's like constant, and next thing you know, like a half hour passed by or something like that. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't fare well with where I'm like time blind or whatever.
mm,
Things like that I try to just stay away from because I can get sucked in for hours. Um, I mean, and I've done it on lots of different apps over the years. Like, I don't know. I don't even remember when Pinterest was like a big thing, but it was like this big thing way back in the day to like go on there and pin different crafts and all kinds of different stuff that you were going to do. And I realized that I spent hours and hours just looking at stuff and pinning it, saying I was going to do, and I did none of it. It was just wasting my time. Like, there's probably people that were using it and were productive with it, but I was like, it was just hours of time suck for me. So I try really hard not to. Um, I think Telegram for a while took a lot of my time, but I can kind of justify that because it's a usually private messages back and forth kind of thing. So um, I can justify that because it's actual human interaction.
yeah, it's basically my
So,
text messaging. It's cheaper to use
mm-hmm,
Telegram.
mm-hmm.
It's funny because I use with my family and friends, I use Telegram, and colleagues, I use WhatsApp. But either or,
Okay.
it's for just texting, and
Yeah.
basically because it's like if I used the actual texting on my phone, it would cost money. So you can use those apps and basically do it for free over the internet.
Yeah.
And Telegram's nice as well because they give you like this huge amount of storage for clouds and stuff like that. That's basically like a fourth hard drive for me. Like so,
Hmm.
just where I save a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I like Telegram.
Mm.
I had WhatsApp for a little bit, but I didn't like it.
I don't like it either, but that's what my colleagues use. So,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I ended up deleting it not very long after it all because I don't know. It's probably it seems like just a duplicate of Telegram, but less user friendly for me.
yeah,
So I don't know. It's funny. Gosh, I don't know how we got on this topic.
no, mind
Oh,
wanders, folks.
yeah, that's funny. Yeah. It's, I don't know. I was telling you before we get started, it's just been one of those kind of days where I have like a certain intention set for the day of things I was going to do, and I just keep forgetting stuff. And I've just been very absent minded lately. So
Mm,
it's been one of those kind of weeks. Some weeks are worse than others on that. I got halfway to the gym today and realized I left my gym bag at home, and I was just like, and then so I had to cancel the appointment I had, turn around, go back and get my bag, and basically was late for the next appointment that I booked, and then they were they were closed for half a day. So I was just like, maybe I wasn't even supposed to go. It didn't seem well worth it by the time I finally got there and did what I did. I was just like, whatever. It's just a somewhat productive day, but it's just not been easy all day. So
yeah, that's yeah. I've had a very similar day. Not, I wouldn't say a little absent-minded. Yeah, but it's like things keep going wrong today, but I can't kind of just keep floating through the day anyway. Like, eh.
yeah,
Like I really do have an kind of attitude today. More so, actually. I was telling you before the show, it's like I kind of feel like a lot of things are coming to a point right now, and there's another kind of shift going on. But so far, so good. Other than I'm sleeping like tons, like 'cause
yeah,
I'm very tired at the moment. I mean, I've told you like also before the show, it's like I always go through these cycles where I need more sleep, like 10 hours or whatever. That could happen for a few months, 6 months, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I don't need any sleep, and I'm sleeping like 4 or 5 hours, popping up to tons of energy, very productive. I've always been going through these cycles my whole life. Um, and I used to resist them, especially when I was in the cycle where I had to sleep a lot. Like
hmm
as I would always beat myself up, like, oh, I'm not getting anything done. Like I want to do this and this and this and this. And I have things I want to do
hmm
now a little. Like I would like to meditate and work on my music and stuff like that. But at the moment, I don't seem to have any time to do any of that. So I'm sleeping
yeah,
too much, and then like when I am awake, time's like flying by. Like, but for every day, even like at work, I've been noticing like time's just like flying by. But I'm kind of just like floating through life at the moment. It feels like the last days. I feel like I'm just floating through life at right now, and all these things are happening at work. And or for example, that would should stress me out or would have, but I'm kind of just like whatever. Like, um, and I kind of floated through the day like that today, and wound up here, and I'm like, I'm not even hungry yet. Spoons, you ready to do the show now? Because I'm not even hungry to eat right now.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I am feeling very like tired and like achy. Um, like all my joints seem to ache. Like, um, but I just
Mhm.
like I said, it's just I think it's just a part of the cycle, and I do notice like um my overall context of going through life day to day is definitely doing some sort of shift. And there's all these different things coming together from like the letting go process and Buddhism and like doing the Course of Miracles and all these like things are seem to like be coming to a point right now. And
Hmm.
I feel like some sort of like transition going on. The best I can explain it. Um,
Yeah.
but it seems to be taking a toll on my energy at the moment as well. But then again, like I
Yeah.
said, I always have cycles like this, so I don't know.
That makes sense. And you got to be getting close to the end of the Course of Miracles stuff, right? It was like a
Yeah,
year thing.
I'm on the second half. Well, second half. I guess it's divided into like two main sections, and so I took in all the foundational lessons at this point. Like 2 weeks ago, I
Hmm.
started the second section, part two, as they call it,
Hmm.
and I'm like on lesson 431 today.
Uh-huh.
But there's so many things that I've learned even like back when I first started it, that I conceptually and intellectually kind of understood it that are now kind of more of a reality. Um,
Hmm.
I do have to say there is something to the whole Course in Miracles thing because if you stick with it and you do as it says, um, I mean, granted, I do all kinds of things, I study
Yeah.
my teachers, Hawkins and Maharaj, and contemplate through the day and prayer and meditation when I have time. Um, Not so
Yeah.
good at the meditation right now, but I can't help but feel like, yeah, the Course of Miracles is definitely been a big part of it because all these things that I learned that I could intellectually understand have become more of a reality as time progressed. Um, and certain things I realized about my perception, clinging to my perception and think what I think was true. It's kind of goes back to the non-issue thing, like we were talking about earlier. I realized there's so many non-issues that I've occupied my energy and time with. Um, that just kind of seems silly now from this context. It's just silly. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I definitely recommend it to people if you want to change in consciousness. This does seem to do something. Just do it when you're ready and follow the instructions, man. It's the first time I did it. I also got to like lesson 200 or something like that, but I was doing it very half-assed. I was
Hmm.
trying to do it on my terms and like, oh, I'm gonna do. It says do it this many minutes, but I'm gonna do it this many minutes, and like, or stuff like that, little things like that, but not really doing it correctly. But this time around, it's like I do the lesson. I never look ahead. As far as I'm concerned, all the lessons that come in the future don't even exist. I never even look at them until that day, that morning when I wake
Yeah.
up. And yeah, I just so many things that kind of clicked. That's it's really hard to explain. It goes like that koan thing we talked about um, last episode or the episode before that. Um, it, the realizations I have are like very koan. Um, because I could do my best to articulate them, but I don't think I it would make sense. Like,
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think we were kind of talking about that a little before the episode. We're both feeling a little bit airy.
mm,
Like, I am definitely not feeling very grounded lately. So I kind of feel like that's the space where you're like reconfiguring stuff, you know? And sometimes you're just a little more whatever. I would say for me, especially with all the moving and stuff that I've been doing and just changing my day to day situation so much, it makes sense to feel very ungrounded at this point because, yeah, I don't really have any normalcy, really. So I don't know. I think with a little bit of time and now that I've kind of landed at a place, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be staying for a while. And it's in a nature setting, which will be very helpful for me, even though it's not originally what I had pictured or whatever. I think being on the water is going to be very helpful. So uh, maybe this next week when I show up, I'll be more grounded. We'll see. If not, that's okay too.
Yeah. Yeah,
It is what it
grounding,
is.
airy. I don't know. There's sometimes, I mean, I get what those things mean, but those are also like very cyclic in my experience.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think you should resist it. Like you feel airy, maybe you feel airy for a reason. If you feel grounded, you feel more grounded for a reason. Like I say I'm like floating around right now, but I don't know if area would even be what I mean to articulate by that. Because I'm very in tune
Hmm.
to the things that are happening right now, or like work related or whatever. It's just
Yeah.
um mm, indifferent, but I don't know. I just see that it's um things are like I said earlier, it's in constant fluctuation, and so I don't see the point of caring, like clinging to it. I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't like
Yeah.
feel lighter because of it. You can say that's airy, but I don't know. Lighter maybe is the better word. Um,
Yeah.
I just
I think
don't.
I
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I think I feel more airy just because well days like today in particular where I'm just forgetting things that I actually need. That's when I really feel like oh okay, maybe I need to pause just a little bit and ground just a little bit. So I'm not messing up, which I guess you can't technically mess up your whole day, but it did kind of get me out of sorts when I had to turn around and go back because it's like a 40-minute drive to the gym.
Mm.
So it's not like it's close by. Um, so it's just one of those things. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
it's, I don't know.
I kind of look at those kind of things like this. Were you forgetting because you're like stressed out and anxious, or did you just forget? Like, because there's a difference. Like, 'cause sometimes I'll forget if I'm too like laser focused and stressed on something, and then I get tunnel vision and I forget about everything outside the tunnel. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's just things happen for a reason. Like
Yeah.
maybe you had to turn back. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It was one of those things like I was getting my stuff ready to go out the door. I packed my bag. I was on the phone with somebody. I packed my bag, but I left it in the back in my bedroom. And then I got my other stuff that I was getting together to go in the car, and I got all that in the car. And then I just left the bag in my bed, kind of thing. Out of sight, out of mind, it just. And then I got halfway there, and I'm like, well, crap. I don't know. It irritated me because, you know, I don't know. I want to kind of get back into some sort of rhythm with going to the gym. Uh, So maybe it's like a self sabotage kind of thing, even. Maybe I really didn't want to go. I don't know.
but you came back, you got it, and you went. So then again, you did.
I did.
Uh,
I did.
so maybe if
So
you truly wanted to sabotage, you would have just came back and be like, ah, screw it, like, like, but you didn't. So I don't know if it was sabotage then, because you would have went all the way.
true. Yeah, I don't know. Time will tell. I may go back tonight. I don't know because I really only got to stay like 20 minutes and then they closed for some reason in the middle of the day. What is that about? I don't know. But they're going to be open tonight, so we'll see. I think I'm trying to find a routine. Maybe this is me um, not needing to make a routine so much. I don't know. Just a lot of stuff. So much stuff in flux right now. I just I'm not sure about a lot of things.
Mm, I know it's like one of the things I did watch a couple nights ago was it the Alan Watts thing about it was recommended to me the full discussion on Zen or whatever. So I was like, ah, I like to listen because Alan Watts is knew his stuff when it came to Eastern philosophy. Like he
Hmm.
definitely understood it from a high intellectual level. And I wanted to understand it more intellectual, like I was saying earlier, because it's been so much hearsay and second knowledge. I want to go to the source, and Alan Watts is not the source, but he's the authority on the source. So I was like, all right.
Yeah.
So he was explaining like you could think of like koans as if you have to explain it, it's like it's the same kind of concept. Like if you have to explain a joke, like if you have to explain a joke, you kind of rob somebody from the belly laugh that they would get if they
Hmm.
actually got the joke. And it's the same
Yeah.
thing with a koan. If you have to explain the koan, you kind of rob them from it because you're supposed to get an experience. There's a energy, a contextualization. It's supposed to be a realization. The same way, like if somebody told a joke and you got it and you started laughing hysterically, like with Zen, it's more of a the koan is more of a the self like a sort of self realization to see the glimpse
Hmm.
the truth, not the perception, but truth. Like so I feel like I'm gonna ruin the joke. Um, trying to explain this, but um, part of the reason I feel kind of indifferent or seeing things so non-issue-y right now because I kind of see truly how everything is already in motion, like um, and where attention exists is in contextualization. How you look at something is going to
Hmm.
determine your intention when it happens. But everything that happened today was basically been set into motion for could be your whole life, eons of time, because it's set in motion. You not remembering to pick up the bag, so to speak.
Hmm.
You don't have control over that. That's why it's well recognized even in science. That's why there's so many like famous scientists out there. Like it's the same debate they've been having since the ancient Greeks. It's like they're always debating is are things determined fatalism or do you have free will? Blah blah blah. And technically, it's both. That's why there's this debate. It will never freaking end because it's both is true. But the overall actions that are playing out today are playing out through an infinite number of variables in karma, like from every side, including yourself and there was no chance in hell you were ever not going to forget the bag today. Um, but the way you looked at it today set the next thing in motion. And I see you went to the gym, so
Yeah.
um, but you're gonna
I
forget
know.
the bag anyway. So it's kind of like a vanity to ever like beat yourself up over it or waste too much time on it. And that's kind of how I'm seeing things, and that's kind of how I feel right now. And that's why I see so much stuff is non-issue because I saw it was set in motion already. And I've been noticing this in bed because like I was telling you like earlier, I keep waking up. Like after a few hours of sleep, I wake up, I have a dream.
Hmm.
I wake up and then I'm up for like an hour or two before I fall back asleep, and that happens usually twice. Then I'm up around noon. Um,
Hmm.
but part of me in like this state of contemplation while I'm like rolling around in bed is I'm realizing I'm just rolling around in bed and there was no free will in just witnessing all this or even urge or even thought process or feeling or sensation or anything when I change position. And I'm kind of witnessing that and that kind of like the koan like something's clicked and I'm like
Hmm.
I've heard about this. I've witnessed this before, but now it's like so in my face that everything is just happening, and it really is how I am reacting from now that is important because everything else has already been set in motion. Like,
Hmm.
um, but I just ruined the laugh, so to speak. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, like as I was having that whole moment where I'm like, I realized that I forgot my bag. Normally, there would have been like this huge reaction. I would have just got so pissed off at myself and all of this. And I didn't today. I was just like, seriously. And then I just laughed about it and turned around and went back for it. But it wasn't like this huge thing. So even in that, it's like,
Yeah, because I
I,
find
I
you,
see things are changed with me. They're just, it's just interesting. I
yeah,
don't know.
because even though on the recommended list of your consciousness YouTube, you might have had the choice to click on the video of freaking out about the bag, but you didn't click on it. The recommendation might still be there, but you didn't click on it. And eventually the algorithm is going to change. You're not, that's not even going to pop up on it anymore. Like, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because what I noticed,
Mm-hmm.
you went back, got your bag, you took in good spirits, you went to the gym, and you seem to be in very good spirits today. I've been talking to you even
Yeah.
off the air for almost an hour before we even went on the air, and you seem in very good spirits today. So that's all I gotta say.
Yeah. I mean, it was fine. It's just funny. It's like, now I'm sitting and thinking about it, and I'm like, I did turn around and I went back, but I could have just went to the gym without my bag because I had my mat and the
Mm,
thing that I actually needed. I just couldn't shower and everything there. So I don't know.
mm.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
it's just it's just interesting um, when you're in these sort of or when I'm in these sort of airy spaces where things are not so. I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it other than I've shifted so much stuff lately. I don't really feel connected to any like it's not that I don't feel connected. I don't feel responsible like a responsibility to a lot of things that I used to in a needless way. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense.
Mm.
um, I don't know. I just feel lighter. That is for sure. But with that just comes this forgetfulness or less focus.
Yeah.
Mm,
There's one like thing with that is it's actually a spiritual practice to uh kind of contemplate what if you didn't have memories,
mm-hmm,
because most memories they're not really serving you at all, like even like kind of reflecting back, oh, you could have did this, could have this, at this point it doesn't matter because now we're at this point in time. And like, and you can go to gym later, you cannot, whatever, you go in tomorrow, like it, but the past that memory doesn't really even do anything anymore other
mm-hmm,
than just part of that phantasmagoria like we talked about last week. um
mm-hmm.
um
Yeah.
where was I going with that? Oh yeah, memory. Like uh Dr. Hawkins used to he said for a while part of his practice is he would go see the old people in nursing homes, because when the family would freak out because the Alzheimer's is progressing, the family would freak out. So part of his job as the psychiatrist would be to check in with the old people. And he says, and you go there and he goes, the family's all like stressed out and panicking. And then you talk to the old person and you're like, so how you doing today, dear? And she's like, oh, I'm fine. Like, do you remember your name? You like, do you, what year were you born? Uh, uh, oh, you don't ask a woman her age, like, but like being playful back and forth with them. And then, do you remember? Do you know what day it is today? Pff, you know what day it is today, like, stuff like that. And then he said after a while of like meeting them, he goes, most of them, um, are in a very peaceful place. Um, and they're very friendly and banter back and forth with you, and it's the family that's stressed out about the
Mm-hmm.
situation. He goes, but he found that most of these patients were in a state of peace. Um, and he said he also noticed, like, certain things, like you would think, like, the family freaks out and, like, poses like hypotheticals. Oh, what if they left the stove on or something like that? And then he realized that they just kind of intuitively turn off the stove. They don't have to think about it. They don't remember if they did or not, but they did. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
I guess it goes back to what my realization, tossing and turning, is that all this stuff was just like happening. The stories like playing out, and there was no need to think about it or ruminate about it, because everything is just like playing out anyway. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, and yeah, yeah. If I go deeper, I really will spoil the joke. So I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, I could make this like logical for people, but I don't. It won't do any good. I think
No,
you have to get the joke.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's who's to say?
You can say it's in God's hands, I guess, is a good way to put it. If you want to use that
Yeah.
terminology, it's in God's hands, and the true you loves you and keeps an eye on you and is trying to do his job anyway, but it's like you resist it and you keep clicking on the channels that's going to keep recommending more of it on the algorithm. Like, um, yeah,
Mm, yeah. Yeah. I think it's kind of interesting as you're making, or as I'm making some of the shifts I've made, uh, changing a lot of stuff, and then I'm surprised when certain other things start to change that are kind of outside of myself. It's like, how do you think you're going to change all this stuff and everything else around you is going to stay the same? Things are not going to start shifting. It's not even that it's a bad thing that things shifted. It's just, I don't know, unexpected, I suppose, is the best way to put some of that. Um, I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like, in some respects, even though I'm still like active in my life or whatever, it just feels almost like you're just watching it play out. Like, what's going to happen next? Because I don't know.
yeah, same. I have no idea what's coming next. It's not that I won't think about it from time to time. I go into certain states, feel stress from here, time, time and time again, but less frequent and less in duration, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Hmm.
Less frequent and less duration, because when it does arise, it doesn't play out as long before I realize how stupid it is, and or it just doesn't come up at all. Um, or feeling the need to um, correct people, or even if it's true, I that's one I've always struggled with. I've realized recently I don't think I've done that, um, to my knowledge, thinking about it anyway. Because I don't feel a need to. Like, I don't feel a need to. I feel like not the beat on non-issues.
Yeah.
Something's not important to the scheme or important in the context of your relationship with the person.
Hmm.
Um, um, yeah, that's another realization I had. Like I said, I have all these like things I seem to be coming to a point. Like, that was another one of those things coming to a point I realized lately. Um,
Hmm.
I've also realized that people come and people go, and yeah, there's nothing you really could do about that. It's if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen because you're constantly changing, other people are constantly changing, the world's constantly changing, life's constantly changing. There's a lot of variables, and to like cling to it is um and yeah, and if you always have like a connection with anybody. There's always something
Hmm.
you could talk about with like anybody. And if your interest changed and they still have the same interest or vice versa or something like that, it's not necessary to talk about it. Um, mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, no. It is interesting though as stuff changes. I don't know. Yeah, I suppose yeah, people do come and go, and that's always fascinating. I would say I feel like I have a lot more people kind of showing back up in random ways. You know, like it seems since January I've had a lot of different people just like call me up and want to go for like a lunch or whatever, or a brunch or something, and it's just like, I've pretty much done one or two of those every month, whereas I wasn't doing stuff like that a lot at all. I wasn't, I was spending most of my time talking to people on the phone or online or whatever, and so I'm making more connections with people in person, which is interesting.
Yeah, I found
So.
myself doing that as well. I don't, other than like at this point, it feels anyway. Other than you, I don't think distance wise, I don't think I'm really speaking to anyone, but I'm speaking a lot with people in my actual proximity. Not that I wouldn't speak with people that are, you know, I know on the internet or like that live in the States or whatever. I still, of course, would. It's just, I just
Mhm.
find myself lately um, more with people in my vicinity or like friends I have here in Germany, stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. You when you're with somebody, for the most part, you get like more of a feel. There's like a dimension um, that's important. Like there's so many misunderstandings I think happen like on the internet because you're always texting back and forward. I mean, voice messages help a
Mhm.
little because you got the tone of the voice added. But people are really don't understand like communication, relationships, and stuff like that are very important. They have there's other dimensions than just the words. You know what I mean? Like, um, um,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's actually what always kind of drove me nuts about people who speed up the. I know a few people like that that will speed up the voicemails. I'm like, you kind of you shouldn't do that. First off, were you in a rush that much where you have to push it through? Second off, you it's like you get like a feel. There's another dimension of communication, even if that person talks slow or whatever. Think about it
Mhm.
like this. Everybody understands music, right, guys? Like, I'm a musician, and I'm sure anybody out there can understand this concept about energy and why this is important. What if you had a song and it's playing at a certain tempo, and all of a sudden you speeded it up to whatever you sped up your voice message, and all of a sudden that tempo is going really fast. Obviously, that song would have a whole different energy if all of a sudden you speed it up, and now it's like a fast playing tempo. Like or people,
Mhm.
DJs and stuff would know that too. Like remixing stuff, like you speed it up or whatever, it changes the entire energy. So you're not even
Yeah.
getting the whole meaning of what that person was talking about. You're destroying the communication completely. You're speeding up a song because there's so many dimensions of communication. But so you have the tone of the voice, you have the words, you have when and face to face, you got the person, eye contact and body language and all kinds of things. There's just Then there's like things you feel that are not even a part of anything like that, like the aura, quote unquote. You actually feel that too.
Hmm.
There's a multitude of things that need to be communicated. And on the internet, it's like everybody. It's like fast food. It's hard to explain. It's like you're not getting the correct communication, so everybody's misunderstanding each other, and like it's just like stupid. Like I don't know. Um, yeah. So
uh,
yeah, it's just
yeah,
like yeah,
there's a lot of people I know that speed up, like even just like YouTube stuff that they watch. They just speed everything
yeah,
up, and I don't. Usually, what I come back with when people ask something about that, I'm like, well, I'd be more inclined to use the slow down option. Some of the people I watch talk so freaking fast. I just have a hard time even following. So I'm like, I'd probably use that one more than I use the speed up option on anything. It's
uh, I,
funny.
I know a few people like that. Like I'm faced with like people in my vicinity. But you
Mhm.
know, like in that commute those communities I was a part of, you know how many of them do that? Like, and it's no wonder everybody is constantly misunderstanding everything, and it's like or because you're basically creating your own context for everything instead of taking the actual context. You are making up your own
Mhm.
context and then going off a superficial word basis. But that like I've tried to explain it before. I'm like you destroy, I guess, your intuition. You destroy it. You have no intuition if you
Mhm.
do that because you're going off a superficial symbol, word, mouth noise basis to get any understanding. Like, and the best way I can explain is like I just did with the music. If like
Yeah, it's a
people
good
are
one.
like that too, like your voices and communications like that too. Everything is
Yeah.
technically music. Like, mm,
Yeah.
but
Well, I've noticed, like, especially with people that I have distance with, if I'm actually upset about something, I send a voice message
yeah,
because if I if I try to text those things, there's so much, I don't know. I feel like it comes better or people better understand what I'm actually upset about if I speak on it instead of
yeah,
just like writing it out. I might have to write it out beforehand just to kind of gather, get things like pushed to a point where I can not, you know, take all of their time trying to communicate the thing. But yeah, there's a lot in the voice for sure.
mm,
Well, in other aspects too, but I think um, while text messaging is great, it does have the most ability for a miscommunication.
yeah. It definitely does. That's why at this point, if I think there's even a slight miscommunication, I'll send a voice message, just like you said. Like, um, sometimes I only find text convenient sometimes because sometimes you can't talk.
Hmm.
Somebody's sleeping next to you, or like you're on a bus or something like that, and I feel awkward doing that, so I'll send a text. But I prefer voice messages if I have the ability because I realize that some of the things I have to say are can be very misinterpreted in a million different ways. And if I just say it, voice message, it's very rare that you didn't understand me or somebody didn't understand me. Like
Yeah.
very, very rare. But texting wise is just like it's like asking for drama. Sometimes it feels like especially if what you're saying is complex and nuanced. Like that's why it's important to get all the other dimensions of communication.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
yeah, even people I would miscommunicate with a lot that I hang out with and like colleagues and acquaintances and stuff like that. I feel like I can be more in touch with their humanness, whatever. If I'm just there with them, like that's what I've
Hmm.
been realizing. If I'm there, like I could literally hang out with anybody. Like because I just figure where our connections were, what levels or what interest we have, and I've also discovered even people around me, their interests kind of overlap, like the circle diagrams sometimes, and sometimes I actually
Mhm.
do have, to my own surprise, like deeper conversations with some people that I wouldn't even thought of. I would have had like even a year ago, or whatever,
Yeah.
because there is overlap, and you you just got you kind of like in communication with certain topics. It's like you got to know when to hold them,
Hmm.
when know when to fold them, and that's something I never could understand my whole life. Like the quote unquote INTJ thing, like I don't. In a lot of ways, I don't feel INTJ anymore. Like
Hmm.
uh, I can do that because like certain like light bulbs that went off. I just gotta like communicate. I gotta know when to talk and when not to talk. Um, know what I can talk about when I can't talk about, and understanding my having some humility to understand that I'm wrong so much, and my thoughts are phantasmagoric, so to speak, and um, or it might even be a non-issue. I might be right. I might have all the
Yeah.
evidence in the world, but it's a non-issue when it comes to me and this
Hmm.
person. Um, it's some at large, in my humble opinion, are completely non-issues with anybody. But even certain things that are kind of an issue might not be an issue with certain people. There's a multitude of context there, and you gotta learn how to read the room. I guess
Hmm.
when you're not letting you're not taking your mind so serious, or taking your opinions so serious, or seeing these kind of things, it's a lot easier to just flow,
Hmm.
and feel lighter about it, and not let it occupy your mind so much, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think as you work on stuff, your energy shifts. Well, I mean, our energy is constantly shifting anyway, throughout the day. But I feel like having different conversations with people, not to say that I always drag in these people that I have these conflicts with. And I've had I had like a week a while back where I was just fighting with everyone. And I was just like, there was that energy in me, and it was just drawing that out of other people. And now that that's kind of relaxed, I think that's another reason I don't feel as heavy.
Yeah.
I let go of whatever that was, and now I'm back to having lighter conversations with people and not getting so worked up about things. So it's interesting. Yeah. I never know day to day the conversations I'm going to have with the people. That's for sure, though. Like I
Mm.
got to my new place I'm camping this yesterday, and I wasn't even here for like a half hour, probably not even 20 minutes because it didn't take long at all to get set up. And some guy just kind of walked up and started talking to me like I've been here forever. He's just like telling me all this stuff about different things. And he's like, "Did you notice this, that, and the other thing?" And I'm like, "I've been here 20 minutes, dude."
Mm.
But he was just so friendly and just, I don't know. It was just an interesting energy to just kind of bounce through. I'm like, okay, I think we've landed in the right spot here.
I work
People
with a
are just
couple
kind of
people
like,
like that. It's like they're so friendly and talkative, and then it's just like sometimes I catch myself pulling away, and I'm like, why am I pulling away? He's got a nice energy to him. Let me hear him out. Like listen to him talk about socks for the next 5 minutes. Like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, this guy was like talking about his boat for I don't know how long, and I know nothing about boats. I was just like, oh, okay, that's fascinating. He's trying to put something on it so he can stay in it overnight or whatever. And he's like, it's not a very big space. And he was actually about the same height as me. He actually might have been a little bit shorter than me. I'm only 5'3", so He's like, he was saying something about that. He's like, well, I don't need much space, because I'm short or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's an advantage sometimes to be short. It was just a fun conversation back and forth. So yeah, you just never know. But it was nice to have a good interaction right off the bat at a new place. There's just something about this spot, though. It just feels very peaceful. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I think we have our content for today. Uh,
Yeah.
Anything else, or
No, I don't know of anything else. My mind is just kind of blank today. So I'm
yeah.
happy we got an hour out of that.
Plus we got more.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, then we'll wrap it up. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in today at for Where the Mind Wanders with Spoons and Joe. You could catch our premieres every Monday, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. We also have a Telegram channel where we post the same title, Where the Mind Wanders. You can subscribe to us there. You can listen to the MP3s there. Um, we are sharing clips every Wednesday and Friday. And those are so you can basically share them around because it's easier to share a 5 minute clip than an hour. So share them around if you like the show. I will eventually make a TikTok. I will say I'm making a TikTok for another 10, 20 episodes, but eventually it will happen. And yes, thank you for tuning in and like and subscribe and see you next Monday.